Start the meeting. It's 3:30. We'll start the meeting. Well, welcome everyone. Has everyone signed in? And if you would silence your phones. I think we'll probably be getting a bunch of alerts here in the next few minutes.
I already
the way
got
the
one.
weather's looking, so. We'll begin with our financial report. Treasurer Lisa Pearman.
Okay, we ended June at $49,255,267.46. That's comprised of restricted was $15,979,688.27, and non-restricted was $33,275,579.19. Then I sent out a comparison. I had some typos on that. I've got a revised one for you. Any questions on any of that?
Everyone get the revised copy? Any questions? Okay.
The next item, if I may, my plan is to close the credit card bank account since I'm doing the CDs as a rotation once a year. There's no need for that account after I pull that last bit of interest out at the end of the year. So as of July 31st, I'll be closing that account, so that'll come off of draws reports.
You're talking about 60,000?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the one above that. The 60,000 was in that, but then when we started doing the CDs, it got moved into the CD.
1102 is the one.
The 1102, yes, sir. You see, if there's no amount there, it's zero. Okay. But that's the account originated. We had the money in there until I started doing the CDs.
Oh, well, so you were saying close the account. I thought there was maybe still some in the account. So I'm looking for a dollar number.
Yeah, there was $2.37, I think, at the end of the year, and I moved that. So now I can close that account. So that's what I want to do, is kind of clean that up. One less to have to keep up with.
Okay. Any questions on that?
There's probably still want to know what the Walker Duck is.
Well, I'll wait till next month to ask that question.
Are we ever going to get through one meeting without that question?
No.
Can you kill a tree and explain to us?
I think so. Sarah killed one of them.
Yes.
Okay, anything else on that one?
That's all I have on the credit card.
Okay.
So do you want me to go to the budget amendment?
Yeah.
Before I go to the budget amendment, I did reach out to Department of Local Government. I was talking to them in reference to something else, and they advised me that normally by the 20th or the 21st, we get our tax assessment. And when I was talking to him, he said all of them have been delayed. It was one day last week when I talked to him, and he said normally he's already got 40 or 50, and he had 0. So I just wanted you all be aware that it could be delayed, which it is now because I haven't got the document from them. So I don't know what month or what week we will get those. So just FYI, that probably won't be in the month of August. We'll be doing that. It'll be more of September.
Okay. Anyone have any questions concerning that?
Then 2, I sent out the year-end statement. I didn't get any questions. If y'all have any questions on that, just let me know. That'll be a part of the court document. And then now I have a budget amendment. I just gave you all the explanation page, but it will be that ordinance with an amendment number on it. I'll just go down the line and kind of go over each one of them. The first one is $2,986.32. That is for a reimbursement for one of the volunteer fire departments. It got lost in some emails, and it was for the prior year. And so we wanted to make sure they got that money, but that would make that line over. So I'm pulling that through the prior year surplus. Then the next item is for $6,000. Animal Control and Care got a grant check the last part of the month of June, and they need to spend those on items in this budget and it wasn't budgeted. So that's why that's added. Then I'll skip the other part and we'll get that to the end.
Okay.
The next one is we've received a grant through the Kentucky Rural Health Transformation, and that was for $54,787. Then the next item is the contract for the mowing at Fort Knox had increased and had changed, and I did not catch that during the budget process. And basically, this money comes in and it's paid out. So I need it on the payout side. So that is just to make that true. It's not really anything that is hurting the general fund because it's just basically we get the money from Fort Knox and we pay it to the vendor, just a wash. The other one is we got approved for the rubber modified asphalt grant for $162,624, and that's adding that in there. And then unfortunately, our recycling grant, we received the money the first part of July, and it was lowered. We anticipated, or Stephanie had requested, $159,810, and we only received $89,200. So I'm taking that out of the budget. With all those added together, the other one is, I think we're going to be discussing today, is the equipment for EMS, and I have that $904,207. It's part of this budget amendment. So it makes a total of $1.2 million and change for it. Do you have any questions?
Any questions, anyone?
My goal is to have the first reading next court and hopefully have the second reading the first court in August if I can fulfill all of my advertisement. I have to wait for DLG to send me back the approval, and hopefully I'll be able to get all that done.
Okay, Sarah.
Just heavy stuff. I'll half over here and half over here. So I'm not sure if everyone has seen that the administrative code has Chapter 7 of the administrative code covers the state regulates the bid threshold by KRS. And I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I was just talking to myself.
Oh, yes. This time when they did the KRS, they had some language in it that automatically increases the bid threshold after a certain amount of time by $10,000. So what I have drafted here, and just I'll put this out here to lead with, all of this has gone to the attorney's office, check for form and legality. She's 100% on board. In lieu of having to continually come back with this information and update that number every time, what I'd like to do is change the language. Instead of saying less than 40,000, less than 50,000, to change the language to say the applicable small purchase maximum set by KRS 424-260. That way, when that automatically happens at the state level, we don't have to spend time getting all of that done so that we can just move with the state. Doing that changes a couple things down the way. I added section B there just to reinforce who sets that and who is in charge of updating the state numbers based on the KRS. and that is the finance and administrative category. So that A, where you see redlined, is my language. B is all new language. So that kind of shifts everything down. The next thing is small purchase procedure. In order to kind of stay with what the Commonwealth is doing, I'd like to up the small purchase procedure number to 10,000. That is in section 4 there. That's what theirs currently is, as set by the Department of Revenue Administration Cabinet. Basically, that doesn't change anything about our policies or our procedures or oversight. It just says if Mark needs a piece of equipment valued at $7,000, he does not have to jump through the hoops that he would if it were valued at $4,000. It doesn't change any of the reporting capabilities, and it doesn't change any of the standards from the financial standpoint. Get my ducks in a row here. So the next thing, this is all new, is under the small purchase procedures, I have added section C, which is specifically at software subscription agreements. To get really into the weeds for you guys, we have to report, they're called SABITA. The Governmental Accounting Standards Board put out a thing a couple of years ago, actually like 2020, it's GASB 96, that says we have to report all of our subscription-based software IT agreements as if they are a continuing obligation. We follow the Kentucky regulatory basis of accounting, so we don't state that in our financial statements. We report it separately. That's what this worksheet is here. But we do track those. We do track the dollar amounts and the length of time. That is required by the Governmental Accounting Standards. What we would like to do is in this small purchase procedure, allow for department heads to be able to sign a SABITA agreement without it going to court, provided that it falls under the $10,000 small purchase threshold annually. So to kind of clarify some of that. Right now, if Mark needs a typing test or a typing software for his employees, say he wants a 3-month subscription to Typing 101, even if it's $200, because it is an agreement, he has to bring it to committee. He then has to have the county attorney vet it, and he has to take it to court. And it creates such an administrative burden for these items that would be considered small purchase. And historically, prior to everything becoming subscription-based, you would have just gone to Staples, bought a CD-ROM, because I'm old, and bought a CD of Typing 101 and put it in your computer. And the claim would still go before court, be open for approval. None of the claims process changes. None of the responsibility changes. The only difference is that rather than saddling, for lack of a better word, all of the people involved in that administrative process with a small purchase, department heads would have the authority to initiate that process, make that payment, and then you would see it when it comes to court as a claim. There's nothing about the technology that I can get ahead of. You know, everything is going subscription-based model. And when I did discuss this with the county attorney, she was very like, yeah, that's actually an excellent idea. It does kind of alleviate some of the administrative burden that she's wasting on things like $200 typing contracts in lieu of actual important things. So that's the new part. That's the biggest change. After that, the language is the same for the applicable small purchase amount for the negotiated process, because that is very clear. And then negotiated process in B, if it's for a service. The other thing I gave you guys was the actual KRS reference there, so you can see how that language was worked.
Sarah, so they clarified it was 40,000. 40. Bottom line is it's going up to 50,000. Is that true?
It's
For right
50 now. Yeah, July 15th it went to 50. That was by KRS. It is set by KRS to increase in 10,000 degree. There needs to go. $10,000 increment by 2030. I believe it's the next update. And that basically just kind of cleans up some of the things that you guys know that July 1, we need a new budget. So I got to wait for this to buy this piece of equipment. If the threshold changes July 1, I don't have to jump through all the hoops. I can just go ahead and do the thing that's in the budget. So it doesn't really change anything administratively other than kind of lessening the hoops that have to be through to make sure it's the same as the KRS. And there is a dollar number specifically for these small purchases that doesn't appear to be changing anytime soon. There was no legislation to change or increase that on the schedule the same way the threshold. So, any questions? Can I answer anything for anybody?
This may be a silly question. So we have to go exactly by the KRS at the 50,000. We can't keep it at 40,
We could keep it at 40, yes. We could.
but it just can't go over the 50.
It cannot go over. But that is governed by our administrative document.
Right.
Yes.
So if we decided to leave it at 40, then that wouldn't change in our.
It would not. And when the auditors come in, that's what they go by, not the state that our documents. Our documents can be more restrictive, but not less restrictive.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Thank you.
Questions? Judge, you good with all this since it's outside the June? You've done all that.
I reviewed it. Seems reasonable to me.
Any other comments?
I'm gonna have it's a comment. I mean, I know it's. I'm just hypothetically speaking. Say you all are new software. Okay, you get this one. All of a sudden, this one's software. This, and you start stacking them on, and whether it's budgeted or not, you may have to pull from somewhere else. How does this stop somebody from coming in and buying $100,000 worth of software?
Okay, so there's several different answers to this question. So one, procurement, like our current procurement laws, don't allow that. You can't piecemeal or stack things.
And what I mean by that is like Microsoft here, some kind of data software for this, like different things, like whether it's to track mileage or it's to track, you know what I mean, like different.
Like modules within the same software or
no,
totally different software?
Something that creates GIS software and then some, I'm trying to like think of different departments, but whether it being under one.
Well, you got to remember there's a $10,000 threshold, right? So anything above that would fall into has to be bid automatic. Or taken to court. I'm sorry, you would have to get the quote and bring it to committee and take it to court. So that releases your threshold. For your GIS software, your financial software, I know the iWork software, all of those softwares would be capital expenditures given the dollar threshold. So
Yeah, I'm probably confusing it as far as the way I'm presenting it. Let's just take EMS because this is something I can think. He purchases a software that's $8,000 to track uniforms.
Mhm.
Okay, completely irrelevant. He purchases a $9,000 software to track mileage. He's not stacking. He's not, there are different things that he's tracking. It's different, and then he spends 10,000 or 9,000 on training modules, and then 8,000 on something else. Like that's almost $40,000 right there, and it's different software, but it's just 10. It's under
Yes,
10. It's under 10. It's under 10.
Can I devil's advocate to you? Aaron?
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping him from doing that very thing with physical goods either. You guys see the bills. You see that.
I think the easy answer, Sarah, is that they have budget, and
Right.
we track those budgets every month. So if you were to do that and he went over budget, then it would flag it. And we would lots of questions about
all
that.
of this, and I will tell you, as far as software in particular, when we build the budget, Lisa, when she builds the budget, there's literally lines for this software, this software, this software, this software, because everything is becoming software as a service. It is not going to be that you could just make a purchase and move on. And as far as oversight, the rules are there to keep you safe. So we are very strident, and you can ask for Mark down there if he is like closed. We will flag that and say, hey, what is this? Now, it is not on me for the policy to dictate what his needs are. That's Mark, that's Judge. But there is nothing to keep them from buying 17 different softwares other than it's not in the budget. We won't let it.
The other side of that, you said obviously it wouldn't go through court, but is it still going to be a policy to, even though it's under that threshold, for the county attorney to review the agreement?
If necessary, I did ask her that, and there are some stipulations that she put through, like she doesn't want to see certain things, and she does want to see certain things. That is at her discretion, not necessarily mine. She doesn't review every copy or contract we sign for legality because they're standard, and a standard contract is a standard contract is a standard. So once she reviews the first one and the rest are just renewals.
Yeah, renewals, I would.
Right.
Something new, like, again, devil's advocate. Mark down here is like, you know what? I like this software. We're going to use it. It's a 100-year clause. You know what I mean? Like where do we? Where's the protection as far as if we're not going to run it through Jenny, or if there's a discretionary aspect?
Again, I don't mean to be insulting, but the implication that the department heads would not be thorough and would not do their research prior to signing those kind of contracts. I can't say enough good things about the current department heads. We have very skilled, very intelligent, very experienced people running departments in the county, and trusting them to make these decisions is, like I said, it is just to alleviate an administrative burden, to kind of streamline things.
But don't all the software come with agreements that
Yes,
we have to approve?
They
So-
are. And Jenny's exact phrase to me is, even if I wanted Meta to change something, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not like some things are not just. And you got to think about it in the grand scheme of things. Most of our software as a service, most of our Civitas are run through Insight, which runs through the state contract. It has a master agreement number, and all of those are huge dollar amounts every year because that's a lot of software. You see those. Aaron brings those. These are 4 things that are small, and we do some training in our office. It is $600 a year. It had to go to court. And I mean, but I could go out and order a part for a vehicle for $600, and it would not have to be court approved until it was paid. So that's kind of what we're trying to fix, is the administrative burden on what would be considered small purchase.
I have a quick question. You should know this. So yesterday we were presented with a $15,000 purchase for Brightworks 365. So are you telling me that we should have had 3 bids since that's over the 10,000, or since it was in the budget, we don't need the 3 bids?
Well, you wouldn't have had a bid because the bid threshold's 40. Any kind of software, you would get 3 quotes.
This
And-
was software, and
Right.
we were only presented with one, the 365. That's what I'm asking. Did we not get that and we should have?
No, because when the selection was made, there were several different software looked at, and the department head chose the software that they felt met their needs.
Okay.
And it was for 14,000, so it still goes.
It
through
was
this process.
14,870.
Yeah, it would still go through the quotes and Jenny.
And that would typically go to court because it's
Mhm.
10,000.
That'll be on the fiscal court agenda.
Yeah, that's I understand that, but I'm asking, were we not supposed to have the 3 bids for that program?
That's through the process of trying to figure out which one we want to present to you all.
Yeah, that's on the department.
Okay. Well, usually whenever the department comes with something like that, they show us, hey, here are the 3 bids we got, but I like this one the best. So I was a little confused about the process there because we didn't get that yesterday. We're going with Brightworks.
It was under 40,000. Yeah, the other goal, well, and we got what we went through the selection process on was the best, but
I understand your point.
Yeah,
The bids are brought to you all, but not the quotes.
Okay. That's
Quotes are-
Good question.
If they select the lowest bidder, it's that one reason we don't have to see.
Well, how do you know they did? Yeah. I'm just saying.
well, according to
I'm
this
not saying they
KRS,
wouldn't,
if they
but-
don't, they have to alert him, and surely he would alert us that they didn't pick the lowest bid according to KRS.
our
Well-
administrative guidelines require that they present a fee writing if they don't bid. What you're looking at is
Bid, but not quote.
a bid or the guidelines for quotes are strictly on the Commonwealth side, strictly on small purchases, and that's kind of how we mirrored that.
And also, I think we need to keep in mind that, the department heads are the professionals and the experts and know which software package best suits the needs of county government. We have to put some element of trust into that. And just like, Aaron was asking about what was to keep them from, racking up $40,000 worth of software or whatever. I mean, that's why they're the department heads, and we have to keep that in mind. We have to respect their decisions and their professionalism on what we need. So there again, there is a way to check that, and that's because it will appear on the fiscal court agenda if it's over.
Yes,
A certain
if it's
amount.
over the small purchase,
Yeah.
it would automatically go to court as being checked with the county attorney. And not with these particular things. I do track those. We track the dollar amounts of those. Like I said, we have to report those to the Department of Local Government as part of our financial report. It is a governmental accounting standards board requirement. It is.
Well, so we have checks and balances
Right,
in
yes.
place.
And
Um,
this does not change any of the standard procurement rules. Like I said, we don't routinely let anyone color out of the lines
Mhm.
without
Yeah.
really sharply getting them back in the right mark.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
I'd like this to go to court.
This time? Okay. Okay, Deena, you're up, I think.
Okay, during the month of June, we added 67 new accounts. We collected $43,521.91. For the fiscal year, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026, we collected $3,539,330.45. breakdown as far as what different tax that went into. Shows that what we collected for each month since we started the tax in 22. Like that's not, that month is not what I would consider a collection month. It's the end of a quarter. Um, that's why that's kind of low. You may have any questions.
Any questions on industrial tax? How's things going as far as sign up and the contractors and all that? Any
I made one trip down there and we've had several. See how much activity is going on.
Yeah, they let you on, but they let you in.
You don't have a problem getting through anybody. Not with this group, right?
Well, I think it's changed quite a bit from that standpoint. I believe y'all had a walkthrough. So I think the door's been open somewhat, not like it was.
Yeah. Not like Fort Knox,
No.
Gold Ball.
Well, flew over. Never got it right. So,
Yeah.
board's already invited. Walked through, saw what they've been doing there with demolition so far. Give you an idea. One room, very large room, 80% of the floor, concrete floor, foot thick, had been removed, back down to gravel. And they were still working on it. Move all of it. The purpose, because the equipment that was going back in there was heavier equipment, so they had to have either thicker concrete or stronger concrete in that room. So that's some of the stuff. And then, one room still had all the equipment. It's all going to be removed, and it's very new equipment. It's all scrap.
Scrap.
Wow.
How are they going to scrap it?
So it's coming out, and they're not going to be using it or selling it. So,
It'd be recycled?
Are they scrapping it through like local companies here, or
I don't say to scrap it out. Just said it was going to be scrap. Now they were going to use some of the electronic stuff that's associated with. I'm going to try to reuse as much of that as they can. And then there was another huge room that had been empty, so they'd already done that. But it sounded like through the end of 2026, they'll still be, they call it demolition phase, basically, but they're getting rid of everything and preparing for the new equipment starting on that next year.
So when you say scrap, Judge, are they going to actually crush it or something and sell it for scrap, or are they taking it and repurposing it someplace else? Or
I don't think they're repurposing. They didn't say they. My understanding was it was going to be just totally scrapped, not using that equipment. And it looked new because
was no.
Well, it is new.
yeah, I just didn't
What
know
up?
if they were going to have an outside company come pick it up, a bunch of money, or
it sure didn't act like it. So
they use somebody local.
but it's a big building.
Did you get your steps in?
I did. They took us all the way from one end to the other, just about a mile. Got down when we came in, got to the middle spine, they call it, and it's a large. I mean, the hallway is as wide as this room for the length of that building, and you can look down the far end, and it looks like it's that big. And if you go all the way to the other end, you're looking down a mile, you can't see the end of the hallway. So somebody said the curvature of the earth, but I don't think it's quite that far.
Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing. And by the end of next year, they say they're going to be producing parts.
I look forward to the day that, they'll invite fiscal court and others
I
to
think they
come
will.
in and actually, when they get it pretty near completed or whatever, just to come in and tour and see what it
This was
looks
just the
like.
first stab at it. They'll be asking more.
Yeah.
There'll be opportunities in the near future. future, I'm sure.
Okay, any other questions concerning the financials? Okay, we're going to the other one. As you all know, the Finance Committee was charged with the responsibility of trying to figure out the best way to handle the monitors for EMS. And I think after Lisa got Keiko's rates and we checked other rates, we could see, all of us can see, that's not the smartest financial move to finance it. Best, especially with their year-end report that we got on our finances, be prudent for us to just go ahead and purchase it outright. And as chair, I would recommend we can't do it in the general fund, that we use the pilot money to do that. That would be what the chair recommends. Anybody else on the committee want to make a comment about it?
Yeah, I think there's another option to consider, and that would be to, well, there's I'll tell you what, let me just turn it over to Bonnie and just let her explain one of the things that
Yeah, the reserves, whether it comes out of if it comes out of the pilot, that's still a reserve amount technically, because there's no future money coming in there except interest. Then there's the general fund. Last year, just to make a comment, the EMS, they were budgeted to spend about $3.9 million that we would have to fund them out of the general fund. It ended up being $2.8 million. So they were $1.020 million to the good, mainly about $809,000 in revenue increases. And then they also saved in expenses. Some of it was personnel. The other bigger piece was not spending $135,000 of the $1.2 million that we had there for ambulance costs. We had some left over there. And when you take out the $1.145 that we actually spent in ambulance, you know, the operations really are down, costing us like about $1.7 million, which was a lot better than the 2 and 3 and more in the previous years. And also, last year's budget had a $500,000 pulling from the HMH legacy to help fund the general fund. We didn't need to pull that money because we had enough other money coming in, excess tax revenue, some other things. So I think it's best to pull, if you're going to pull anything out of another pot other than the general fund, I would say $500,000 of it come out of the HMH legacy like it was budgeted for. But if anything, it should just come out of general reserves.
So you're saying 500,000, the option 500,000 out of the hospital fund, and the remainder, which would be 400. Some math. 400 there. That would come out of our general, not pull it out of the pilot fund. So that would be the other. Toss that one out there as a possibility.
So we have three options: pilot, hospital, general.
Well, the option 2 was really kind of a mixture of.
But we actually have 3 options though to consider if we.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
You could have 3 options, sure.
Yeah. Anybody else on the committee have a comment they want to make on it? Magistrates. Anybody have a comment? No one have a position on how you want to finance this?
We have in the general fund. I don't see why we don't use general fund.
It's all unrestricted general fund. It's all general fund money.
No, it's not on
But
general
you're
fund.
suggesting 500,000 out of the legacy.
I said we could because we didn't use it. It was budgeted to be used last year out of the legacy.
It was a budget compromise we made last year. Yeah. But the pilot was generated based on a tax base. It's not based on the sale of an asset. So there's distinct difference in those 2 pots of money. So that's the reason I say I've always had the position that if we're going to pay for services, we pay for it out of tax generated or fee generated or grant generated funds, not a fixed asset sale. And we all know too that we're facing some issues going forward that we want to make prudent decisions on whatever we spend our money on right now. So
I would be, I'll just speak first. I guess I would be inclined to pull it out of the pilot funds.
My position has not changed on the legacy money.
Mr. Muse,
It's all Fort Knox.
it's all
Fort Knox.
lost before they on the ground.
Uh,
I just wanted to draw attention just in case anybody else wanted to go. If not, I'm going to be looking up. I don't know. Whenever it comes to EMS, my stance has always been like I do think that's health and wellness. Point blank period. That's one area. I'm not going to say compromising, but I think that's one area where we could utilize as much from any asset. I do think though that if we, first of all, Mark and them, good job with the revenue increase. I think that it comes from the contract, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these recognize Mark in his leadership.
Well, and I think it's quality control. I think there's a lot of things
There's a whole bunch of stuff
that have contributed to that.
And Bonnie was
Also,
part of
we
it, too.
added the white notes. We added the
And that's
so,
even
I mean,
covering
yeah.
that extra time ambulance and like that.
So my personal stance is, they were to the good. Whether you want to physically see it as using that money to kind of wrap that up, either that or maybe not use them. They're all, in my eyes, a little more unrestricted. But, I'm okay with either way. I'm willing to compromise basically. Anyway, everybody else sees it. Out of all things that we pay for, this might be the most important.
Ditto. I agree.
I'd say general fund myself. I mean, we're $1,020,000 is good.
That's something what effect? We know that the last 3 years we've gotten in more revenue and expenses have been less, so we've ended up each year just about over projecting, under projecting, and we had the $4 million. I think it was close to $4 million. So why can't we just go out of the general fund? And then if we got into an issue, we've always got a pot to draw from.
I think that's kind of what they're saying is we didn't use it. Okay, we made $1 million more. Let's just use that.
Well, but what about our general fund revenues? What I'm saying now, that's $500,000. That was never taken, so it's not in that.
They gave two options: one, using 500,000, or just using the general fund of the million, which included the.
Well, I didn't understand that. I thought it was 500,000 plus 400,000.
They said two
mentioning
options.
that we didn't use it, but
Yeah.
I
But
think
they still made more enough to cover it. It was all in general.
it was
Yeah.
to be pulled last year.
We
We
could do-
didn't pull it,
we could
but
take
I
it-
don't.
We can
care.
take it all out of the general fund.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's I think good reasoning to do
I
that.
think that makes the most sense.
That makes the most sense.
Or you could take 500 of it out, since we didn't use that 500 from the hospital sale. We could use about part of it there and the rest of it. Those are the two. So whatever you guys.
And and I'm flexible with it. The thing of it is
We've got to do it.
we have to do. That's true. We have to
It's just kind of
fund it.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
where's the money going to come from? Where are we going to pull it from? So, I'm not set on any one thing. Whatever.
Their revenue goes in the
Yeah.
general fund anyway, so it just makes the most sense.
That's what,
We could do it that way. We all want to.
and the reason it didn't.
hmm
Didn't,
Right.
True.
so I,
Efficiency. Thank you.
Well, I think that speaks well of what we're doing.
Mhm.
We're able to
Mhm.
negotiate and not, and,
Exactly.
you know, and not even take the money out of what we proposed to move
Exactly.
it, and we ended up on the
Mhm.
plus side. So
Mhm.
it's good fiscal,
Mhm.
you know, management. So
Mhm.
Anytime you're
I
$1
agree.
million better off.
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Significant.
Well, let's not talk
Good
about the
job,
ones that we
Mark.
lost.
So what I'm hearing
Good
is the
job.
general fund would be the preferred method of.
As will they pay. It's weird.
I just said my
He said,
stance on the hospital money is
Uh-huh.
not changed, so that means don't use the hospital money.
I think Kenny.
General
Yeah. So I,
So now this page is complete. It's all going to come to us next week, you said?
Right, it'll be in that format that you normally get, but it'll be changed because I've got on this the college.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Instead of coming from the pilot, it'll come from the general.
Brian's any change on the weather? Bad for them, good for us. Okay. The next item is discussion about an ordinance, our ordinance 248, series 206. I went to, I'm trying to do my own personal work on the fire services issues that we're faced with. I went to the sheriff's office and secured all of the opt-in, opt-out documents just to see how much money was being generated to the volunteer fire departments and stuff. When I looked at it, I saw the rate was the same. And so I went to pull the ordinance because I remember in 2022 we amended the ordinance. And if you'll look, if you want to look at the ordinance, I didn't make a copy for everybody. Ordinance 328, series 2022. On the second page of that, item 3G, the above applicable membership charges shall adjust each calendar year according to the Consumer Price Index, all urban consumers, as published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, CPI, by multiplying the percentage increase or decrease of the CPI to the then current membership fee to create the current fee for each calendar year. It appears for 3 years we have not added the CPI to the subscription fees. So the bottom line to that is that that money has not gone out to our volunteer fire departments. I have not done the calculations because that's above my mathematical skills, but just doing a rough thing, it's in between $85,000 and $100,000, I guess, somewhere in that range, total over the 3 years. But somebody else would have to either use Claude or somebody else to do the calculations on it, because you're going to have to use the CPI for the last 3 years and also the compounding effect that would have been involved as well. And math was not one of my greatest skills, so but just roughly between, I think, 85 and 100,000. So as far as who's responsible, I don't know, Judge. Maybe y'all can help me with that. It says in the ordinance that the Hardin County Clerk shall have the duties of placing the membership charges or subscription fees upon the property tax bills on properties located within Hardin County, with the exception of the incorporated city limits of West Point. And then West Point, Ratcliffe, Pine Grove, Elizabethtown, Upton, and Sonora. And membership charges or subscription fees shall be listed separately from taxes owed, as to allow the property owner, business owner, mobile home owner, and or landowner to ascertain the fire subscription amount owed. Then it goes to the sheriff to do the collection. So I assume by that it's not our finance department's responsibility, because it's not outside of county government as far as this, but I guess it's the clerk that has to come up with that amount of money and then give it to the sheriff. Is that right? I mean,
Don't know,
that's above my pay grade. So,
but we can certainly.
okay. And I don't, as a member of fiscal court, I don't recommend that we go back and calculate that and add it to citizens, because it's our fault.
Yeah.
And then, so when I say our, I'm talking about in county government. Somewhere we failed to follow through on the ordinance. I don't know who's responsible for reading our ordinances and keeping us up on our ordinances, but somebody I guess better start paying closer attention because that's quite a bit of money. Our firefighters, fire departments need every penny they can get out there. We know that. So
Since you brought that up, it's been talked about whether it should be mandatory or not. Is that something that we would have to change on? Whether it be have so not have that same conversation at the same time?
Well, of course, this issue here is, this is a processing issue outside of the ordinance. The ordinance said to do it, whatever it did to do it. So we have to figure that out. What you're talking about, of course, is a change to the ordinance. It's a good time to look at it and see if that's something that we would like to do.
How much more would that? I mean, before what I've been saying this whole entire time, before we go to the extreme of whatever we're doing, exhaust all options, and if it's every little bit helps, and if there's a gripe over just even instituting a mandatory where there's no more opt out, do they want it? You know what I mean? Like, if they're trying to opt out of something, why are they opting out? You can't complain about it one hand, and not be willing to help take care of it another. You know what I mean? So
Just a lot of people that just don't want to pay the fee and they don't have to. Some people have multiple pieces of property, or maybe have a parcel of land
The
that's.
vast majority opt out, is that correct?
Yeah, and
Is
it's
that
not a
something?
tax, it's a
Subscription fee. yeah.
subscription fee, so
Yeah.
I think that part of it is a question, Jenny, is are we allowed within the Kentucky laws, the
we
KRSs, to make it mandatory? And I have a feeling we can't, because I would think somebody would have, but I don't
No,
know.
I think
But-
we do.
I think there are other counties that do.
I think we
No.
can.
Can?
we can.
Okay.
You all
Recalling
might
we-
remember whenever you looked at it.
Yeah, when we looked at it, we decided not to do it at that time, and but we can do it in the unincorporated areas
Right.
of the county. I think according to what the sheriff gave me, the sheriff's department gave me, there was like $69,000 in opt-out fees. So mandatory, you would be looking to recap of $70,000, and that could be.
Plus the CPI.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Fred, if you read a little further down in the ordinance, and I may be looking at it wrong, it says annual filing on the second page there, or is that the third page? Sorry. Annual filing. After receiving approval of the Hardin County Fiscal Court to add its subscriber fees to the property tax bills, each fire department shall file the following on or before June the 15th of each year of its budget for the next year, on or before August 31st of each year, its financial statements for the preceding year. Hardin County Fiscal Court policy shall be followed for the purchase of any equipment. The county may audit the financial records of the fire department at any time, at one half the cost to the county, one half the cost of the fire department. Is that not adding? Is that not saying that every year they've got to come and put that on there?
They do.
Yeah,
They don't get their
supposed to.
funds. They do. They
That's
don't
what
get
it
their
says.
funds. But I was getting ready to go to that page
Okay.
because there's some discussion now as to why we have two different dates, why we can't go to
Yeah.
the middle and have both of those filings on the same date.
Yeah.
Because it puts pressure, it would take pressure off of getting our tax rates, our tax bills out if we backed it up a month. So that was another part of the discussion that we could have on it, Judge, when we talked about the whole enchilada.
Fiscal court or KRS? We did.
But that's not the dates for them to say this is the new rate.
No. No, that's to file their
Their other stuff. Okay.
yeah, their testing and all that. And if they're not in compliance, then they don't get their money.
Right.
But it's been questioned. It's been questioned as to why we have two dates, and because of the pressure it puts on getting those reports out and in tax time, or the second report. So maybe the next
Maybe the
next meeting you can have a
Yes.
report on it.
You want to do that at the next emergency service committee?
We can do that.
Talk through it then.
Is that good with everybody else? Okay. Anyone have anything that just happened 5 minutes ago that you want to bring up? Any report, Brian, on the weather?
to that, actually, ironically, I did have a constituent ask about the storm shelters. Any word back on that grant or when that?
I had to sign once again, this time in a row, to somebody. It is at FEMA right now, and I thought originally we were supposed to hear something by the end of July, but they haven't released. They have everything. They haven't come back and said they need something else. So going forward, so we're waiting on FEMA at this point.
Hope, still hopeful.
Yeah.
10 of them.
Still take about 6 months to get them in.
Anything else? We're adjourned at 4:25.